that looks smart. Yeah, went on that pub crawl last night, and it was not pretty. As a matter of fact, I got home this morning, and I found this little video on my phone, and I went with our Eve senior producer, John Lander, on our pub crawl, and pretty sure. Pretty sure he did not get his job based on his dancing skills. So, I am here to talk about Dust 514. Actually, I am for a second. So, if any of you guys are in the press or you're going to go write on your blogs, the focus of this Fanfest is Dust 514. And so what I'd really like for you guys to do, if you're going to write something about this World of Darkness presentation, please preface it with, have you checked out these really awesome Dust 514 links? And make sure that we really focus on it, because Dust is the focus of this show. So, without further ado, I am Chris McDonough. I'm the senior producer for World of Darkness. I wanted to come out here and spend some time with you guys and talk a little bit about where we are and what we've been doing. It's been a little bit of a weird last year, and first thing I wanted to start out with was some of the early work that we did in trying to get the look and feel of World of Darkness right. We wanted to try out something that was more old school, sort of classic vampire stuff. And so we put together some videos to capture the mood, and this was the first one that we did. We tried that out, and it wasn't what we were looking for. So we thought we'd try something a little newer, edgier, something that would catch the kids' attention, all the awesome, young people that are so into vampires now. So we did this one.
You can't protect me from everything. Sometimes something's gonna happen. Could be an accident, illness, old age. As long as I'm human, the only solution is to change me.
That's not a solution. That's a tragedy.
Can I ask one thing? Kiss me.
No.
So we said to ourselves, oh my God, we got it right in the crapper. That was not what we were looking for. So then we went back to the drawing board again, and we actually put together what we really wanted to sort of be our mood piece to capture the mood and feel of World of Darkness. Can I get the lights to turn down for this? And I don't know if I can or not, but I would like darkness for my World of Darkness. No chance? Oh, somebody's running to turn the lights. He was so engaged in the presentation. All right, you guys ready? Turn it up a little bit more.
You won't believe me. In fact, I shouldn't tell you. Some secrets are best taken to the grave. They're all around us. They control everything. They have always been here, waging their secret wars, devouring anything that stands in their way. Cast out of Eden, their souls discarded, their flesh made immortal. Each a font of undying power tortured by their boundless appetites. We belong to them. Tonight, I was taken. Come for you. It all begins when you die.
So you might have seen that before. It's been on the internet for a while. We showed it at our own convention, the Grand Masquerade, which is a White Wolf fan club for the vampire community. But it probably looked like this when you saw it on YouTube, with this guy's head and the camera turned sideways. But it's nice. But I wanted to bring it here and show it to you guys because I wanted to show it to you in a really cool sort of nice environment and give you all the booming sound system. So why am I here to talk about World of Darkness at this show and in this small room? I mean, smallish. I'm not going to make a big announcement. We would do the big room there. But what I wanted to say is that based on the events of last year, our project is still very much in active development. Part of the reason why we've been keeping it such a secret is that I don't want to release any information until we're ready to really show something that's just going to make you guys just go nuts and really lives up to the legacy. And I just don't want us to be trying to feed some marketing machine for years and years when we're not ready. But I've had a lot of questions, and I really wanted to come here and sort of just at least address some of those with the EVE fan community, who I feel like you guys deserve this. I mean, you're really the ones that support CCP. And so I thought I would answer some of the questions that I've heard and then maybe do some QA afterwards. So the first question I've been asked is how many people work on World of Darkness? And the answer is about 55. This is our office in Atlanta. You can see Stone Mountain in the background up there. We have about 500 people that work at CCP, and this is about 10% of CCP's staff. We have level designers, animators, character artists, game designers, programmers, all a full team. Also in the Atlanta office, we also have some EVE customer support and other accounting functions and things like that also work there to help support EVE. And I just wanted to show you guys the team, and give them a little shout out and give you some sense of how the project is going. My next slide's not going. My clicker's broken, so you have to go to the arrows. I wanted to talk a little bit about the team. Where does a team like this come from? And it's been taking us a while to build a team like that. And part of the reason why is these are some guys that we found in Atlanta, but it's actually a team of AAA developers that we've been building. They've worked on virtually every MMO that has ever shipped, along with a whole host of other AAA titles. So we have really built a quality AAA team in Atlanta. This isn't even all the games. My PowerPoint stopped scrolling. It wouldn't go through all the names because I didn't want to end on Mall Tycoon, which didn't really, So what's the team been doing all this time? I mean, the game's been in development for a while. The biggest thing is ramping up. We've been hiring that staff that I just showed you, and also we've been working on all the things that happen with expanding an office. We've been working on setting up an office. We've been working on building our AAA team. We've been creating development tools. We've been designing gameplay and creating prototypes. We really want this game to be, everything that the CCP legacy is, and it needs to live up to it. What with the prototypes, for example, we actually built something called World of Darkness Year 1, and it was a full vertical slice of all the features that we intended to have in the game. And it was playable in the office. We actually ran a play test globally in all 3 offices for about 2 weeks. We took it so seriously, skip ahead for a second, we put together this manual, and I blurred it out so you couldn't read all the text. But this was distributed to the company so that they would understand what the systems were that were in play. And this is how seriously we treated it like a release within the company. And everyone was able to play test it for 2 weeks. We took all that feedback, and we've been continuing to roll it into our game. But anyway, you can see it was pretty extensive. Other things that we've been working on, we've been working on building movement tech and character tech. At various times, our team has also helped contribute to EVE systems, including things like Incarna or Trinity. We've been designing story content and designing our visual style, building a sandbox. The sandbox is really important to us. I'm going to talk a little bit about more in a few minutes, but for us, that is the legacy of CCP. I know a lot of people are worried when they hear vampires. They're thinking, oh my God, this is going to be some sort of fruity Care Bear game, and it is not. It is a CCP game. It is backbiting and deceit and deception and all of that. We've also been working on our city rendering and city character rendering tech as well, and we've been working on our seamless city technology. Another thing that we feel is very important to the CCP legacy is one shard, and we are going to be doing that with World of Darkness. So, so these are all some of the things that we've been spending our time on. You already saw that. This is one of our game designers, 2 of our game designers that are putting out some of our game designs. They've been working on these things for a very long time. The main thing I wanted to get across here is that this is sort of a goofy way of conveying the systems with internal presentation. So this isn't the full game design for these features. This is a way to tell the rest of the team sort of in a nutshell what those features are. I thought I would point out the date and timestamp down here. This was 2 a.m. in the morning that these guys are working on this stuff. So they're putting in long hours, which tends to lead to a little bit of insanity. But, plus also the guy in the underwear is just batshit crazy anyway. He's Swedish. So yeah. But error of our ways, right? I mean, we've definitely made some mistakes over time. We ramped up our teams too fast. We underestimated the amount of time that it would take to transform the EVE technology into a character-based game. And CCP just simply had too many priorities. Our team frequently shifted around to assist with other projects and things that really were not what we would call best development practices. And so that's why we're moving, with the last year, we descoped our team. We moved back to a smaller group of core developers who can finish building out all the things that need to be built, which I'm about to talk about in the next slide. But fundamentally, focus on Dust 514. There it is again. Getting that out there, like all you guys will do with your links and awesomeness. And so we're definitely trying to focus. So you won't be seeing much about World of Darkness after this presentation. We're going to go back into sort of lay low mode, and then and when we're ready, you guys will see some really cool stuff. So what now? Focus on EVE core gameplay. So the thing that the way it's been phrased to me is, don't fuck up EVE. That's what I've been told, and that's what we're going to do. So we definitely, the CCP's focus this year is on making EVE great again. And not that it stopped being great, but making it even greater. And then get Dust 514 out. Oh man, that's the 3rd time I mentioned Dust 514 in this presentation. We're going to, yeah, I can't count either. The shit, it's 1, 2, and a lot. That's all I know. Anyway. So we're going to start releasing more information probably towards the end of the year about World of Darkness, though, as Dust gets more solidified and gets out. But there is no release date. People always ask me, what's the release date? They speculate on it. It's ready when it's ready. We have a lot to live up to. EVE is a game that changed the game industry, and we don't want World of Darkness to be anything less. That chill that you got yesterday when you watched, Dust shooting into the, or EVE shooting into the Dust PS3 game was just like, I got a chill watching it. Like, oh my God, I'm watching the video game, computer game world change right in front of me. And we want to make sure that people have that same feeling when we actually release some information. But just to cover a little bit of what the game is like, in some broad strokes, I can't give a lot of details, but these are our 3 areas of focus when we think about game design. We're focusing on the coffee shop, which is a sort of social networking, very low conflict way to bring people into the game. You guys might know that EVE has this kind of learning curve thing that, yeah. And so we're trying not to do that. So we're focusing on new ways to bring players into the game that don't have such a difficult ramp up for them. And that's what that coffee shop is. And also for players who don't just simply want to PvP, we want to give them a way to engage in the game that is meaningful and still more casual. Theme Park is our PvE content, so this is player versus environment. Something that we feel like we need to convey the mood and spirit of the World of Darkness, and so we work on that. But really the big thing for us and the core of our focus on game design is the sandbox. The sandbox is CCP's bread and butter. We know that is what we do different than everybody else out there, and so it is the primary focus for us. It is the thing that we think just makes us different, and is the legacy of us. So intense hand-to-hand combat, just because we're having some easy ways into the game does not mean that there won't be people just kicking the shit out of each other. And we've come up with some really great new combat systems that the team is focusing on right now, delivering. We have vicious politics in the game. We're trying to take a lot of the systems and things that we learned from EVE about politics and put them into the game in a more formalized way. So, for example, having players being able to actually vote for other players for positions within the world. So, and those positions having some authority and power. So that's the kind of thing that we're focusing on here. Fashion, I know that might be a little weird for you guys, right? But I know everybody's happy with the 40% EVE female player base. Oh, shit, sorry. That's 40% EVE female avatars. We're hoping to do more with that. World of Darkness and Vampire the Masquerade has always had an audience of women that play that are very attracted to this type of property. And while we don't want to design a game around that, because it's a little bit pandering, what we do want to do is make sure that we're building systems that support people who want to have that style of gameplay. And the clothing and fashion stuff that we're doing is quite amazing. And like I said, sandbox control of cities is our big focus. So as a player, you would be able to be the prince of a city. You would be recognized by all the other players as the prince and be able to take over that. You're going to have to fight for it, and you're going to have to politic for it, but that is our core focus of the game. And of course, stunning visuals. I mean, the legacy of EVE is just astounding. The graphics in EVE are still 9 years later just gorgeous, and we know we have a lot to live up to. So we're putting a lot of focus on that as well. That's really it for my presentation part of this. What I wanted to do a little bit, and why I want to do a QA, is come out here and give you guys a chance to sort of ask your questions that are important to you, and maybe just get a dialogue between the teams so that we seem like a group of guys that's actually supporting the company and really wanting to make something great. Hell, I don't even want us to seem that way. We are that way. So what I'd like to do is bring up Rainier Hardison. He is our creative director on World of Darkness. He is also the creator of EVE and founder of CCP. So if you guys could give him a round of applause. You owe it all to this guy. Hey, and I'd also like to bring up David Reed, who is our Chief Marketing Officer. Whoops, I had the pictures up there. I forgot to bring him up. I have him come up. David has just joined us recently. And he's starting to get some new insight onto the World of Darkness and what it is, so we thought we'd get sort of new, old perspective there and just go through some questions. So if it's okay with you guys, just raise your hands and I'll start. It's the young lady down front.
Do you feel any pressure to get this out as soon as possible to capitalize on the sort of vampire things returning to prominence in popular culture?
Right, that's a great question. Do you hear me okay?
Yep. I'd pull it closer. There's another microphone right there.
It's a great question.
I think that one's on.
So no, the question was, do we feel any pressure to capitalize on the vampire craze that seems to be happening with Twilight Tour and stuff like that? We often get this question, but the truth is that vampires have always been, it's kind of this. It's always there. It's always in the background. Sometimes it spikes a little bit. You saw it with with Anne Rice's stuff. You saw it with every once in a while comes a vampire movie or some new thing. So we don't feel it's ever going away. And as an example, we have this similar Fanfest in New Orleans every year, which is based on the live-action role-playing part of Vampire the Masquerade, and that is a Fanfest. It's not as huge as this one, but it attracts about 1,500 people who are actively participating in live-action role-playing, and they've been doing this for years. And there's a very strong, loyalty to Vampire, and I think it's never going to go away.
And I guess as the marketing guy, I'm the de facto capitalist on the team. So, I'd be remiss if I didn't say I think a weaker company might have to do that. Might see the potential of, wow, we could do this now during Twilight craze and make a lot more money, but it would not be what World of Darkness is. I mean, this is a brand that has lasted for 20 years with a loyal following and just, a tremendous amount of high integrity work done by the White Wolf team in Atlanta. It would be a mistake to sell that out quickly without putting the right AAA polish and focus on it. So, I think other companies may have jumped at that chance if they had the property, but that definitely does not feel like the spirit of what CCP is all about.
One point to it, we're definitely not making Twilight.
There you go. That one's. If you want to stand up then, since we're all standing, it's a little weird to have you sitting.
Well, I feel sad if I didn't, then yeah.
Next question? How about that guy?
I believe World of Darkness was first announced in 2006, 2007.
Well, it wasn't really announced. Hilmar said, we merged, and of course we'll do World of Darkness eventually.
Okay, so it's been on the cards since about 2007, 2008 or so. Even compared to other AAA MMOs, 6 years later, how come there's nothing to show yet?
We have plenty to show. It's just we have decided to stay under the radar. We want to show it when we are, really ready to show it. Yeah. So yes, we start pre-development in summer 2007, I believe.
Well, yeah, and we spent some time working on an internal secret project that actually wasn't World of Darkness, that we opted to move to World of Darkness instead of. So then we went back to the drawing board for that.
Right. I moved to Atlanta in 2008, end of year 2008, and that's where we start ramping up the pre-production of the project. But given the timeline, making these things takes a lot of time. Building games like this, is massive investment, and right.
A lot of other MMOs, well, there's a lot of things. We're building engine technology as well. We're from the basis of EVE, but where there really was no character and character movement technology, no character-to-character combat systems, things like that. So we're building a lot of that. We have also spent a lot of time working on other projects within CCP, believe it or not. So we've supported a number of server enhancements for EVE. We've supported the Incarna stuff. We spent some time on that. We spent time on Trinity. We spent time on a number of expansions where actually at some points in the project's development, we've moved the entire World of Darkness team onto EVE to support it. So that's been another factor in it. Next question?
In the World of Darkness lore...
Did you win a medal?
What?
Did you win a medal?
Yeah, Dust.
Sweet. All right, good job. Dust? Yes!
My question was that in the World of Darkness lore, there's, yes, of course, vampires, there's werewolves, mages, and hunters, and a lot more stuff. Will there be any of that?
So the question was, in the World of Darkness lore, there's a lot of other things than vampires. There's mages, werewolves, wraiths, all that stuff. In the beginning, we're focusing on vampires. There will be stuff like this later, but we decided instead of doing a very horizontal attempt at doing everything, we decided we're going to do the vampires first, and we're going to do them really well.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
What is the intended size and shape of the game worlds that players are going to be able to move around in? For example, if this same question were asked of EVE Online, I would say that the size and shape of the game world is that players fly spaceships that can move around in a solar system, each solar system being a three-dimensional field, and that the entire universe consists of 7,500 solar systems.
So the question was, what is the scope of the game world where players are moving around and playing?
Don't think we're really ready to talk about that yet. I mean, like I said, at this thing, I don't want to. We're not going to discuss everything that.
It's going to be a lot of buildings. I can tell you that. It's.
Can you tell us if it will be more than one city?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But they will all share. It's a single world. There are multiple cities, but they're all they all share between them.
One of the things that we're focusing on, just for a second, is much like you saw maybe in the keynote presentation, the crest layer of pulling out a lot of interaction with the server so that it can be supported in other ways is something that we're also doing with World of Darkness. So a lot of those systems are being moved out of the server so that they can actually be accessed from the web or from or from mobile clients or anything like that. So we're thinking a lot about where we would go in the future. We're of course focusing on getting the game out, but so we even envisioned it expanding beyond just what's in the game.
So a little bit touching on that also is that the founding principle behind EVE is really maximizing human interaction. And I've talked about this before at Fanfest. And the reason is obviously that it creates a lot of emergence in the sandbox, but it also creates much more deeper and more meaningful ways to interact, which then leads to people making friends and and ending up in Iceland. And we have really believe that this is the secret sauce and the magic and why it works. So that's why we're going with the single shard design. That's why we're having the sandbox experience, etc. So it's single shard. There was someone up there who was holding it.
Hard to see. Just shout out, stand up. There you go.
You said there's going to be multiple cities. Are we going to be seeing actual cities such as New York, Chicago, and if so, I mean, are we going to be seeing cities outside, the United States, such as Mexico City, or maybe Tokyo, things like that?
So the question was, are we using real-world cities in the game? These are we examined that quite a bit, and what we found is that cities are generally boring. It's only certain areas which are actually interesting in cities, with maybe exceptions of Paris or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're using a stylized version, but they will be named after real-world cities. So there will be a New York, there will be a London, there will be
We didn't feel like that game design and asset-wise that it was a worthwhile proposition for us to try to model the world.
Yeah.
It's just tough. So we're mostly focusing on fictional elements.
But this
You
is
can see
also
some of them up here on screen, by the way.
Yeah.
This is concept art from the
But
game.
this is also a great question because very much in the live-action role-playing part of Vampire, you have the princes of the cities. You have a prince of New York and etc. So we will have that also in our game. It's very hard for me to see which is Q.
Sorry.
Right.
How bloody and violent the game is going to be?
Yes. So the question is, how bloody and violent is the game going to be?
It's and naked too, apparently.
It's going to be quite violent and bloody. It's not gratuitous violence. If that's the how do you pronounce that word? Don't speak your language.
What word?
Gratuitous.
Gratuitous.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
gratuitous. Gratuitous.
It's not like violence porn, if you will. But it's meaningful violence.
One of the things that
to build on that a bit, right? Again, another good contrast with other vampire popular fiction, right? World of Darkness has always been a very mature property, even in its early stages as a tabletop game. And again, the essence of what we all as a company and these guys as a team are really trying to do is uphold that integrity. And again, don't compromise on the fact that World of Darkness is a dark game. And yes, there are women playing it. It doesn't mean it's pink and soft and bubbly and cottony, right? It is a hardcore game for hardcore gamers. We just expect it's an intellectual property and an environment that is vastly more appealing to women than simply the dark reaches of space can be at times.
Similar to Eve, one of the things that we want is the threat of violence to sometimes be enough to offset the violence. And then when you have to go to it, then it's time. But we definitely will be supporting large-scale fights between players, things like that. So it is not like, oh, two vampires fighting. I think there was one other.
I'm wondering about the dynamic of the game. We're talking about many large cities. Are you expecting empty cities or less populated cities? Or are you just hoping that the player base will be big enough to support these cities? Or how will you be having dynamic sizes?
Right. So the question was about distribution between cities. Are you expecting people to flock to certain cities? Maybe others will be empty. The dynamics of the game will make it a little bit auto-balancing. There's opportunity in power vacuum in low-populated cities. So it a little bit auto-balances. So if that answers your question.
And we have a strategy also for ramping up the game.
I think there was one in the back that was for a while. It's hard to see.
The guy in the middle? Or?
decide portion of the hardcore player base.
Yes.
Does the MMORPG
It's not like they revolted.
unify the various versions, or will you just say, let's start new and forget all the previous lore?
So the question is, you're referring to the new World of Darkness, which is 2005 when Vampire the Requiem came out. The World of Darkness we're working on is based on Vampire the Masquerade, which is the original. Yeah. All right. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
You pick someone. I'm always picking.
Oh, this guy in the middle. He's been holding his hand.
Yeah.
We heard that, like the original game, when you die, it's permanent. Would this be also applied to the game, and how easy would it be?
Yes. Right. So the question is about death, because in the pen and paper and the live action games, there's permadeath. There is. It's a little bit different in our game, but that's one of the powers of the prince. He can call bloodhounds.
So when that happens, you can be permanently killed and your character removed from the game. How's that for hardcore?
Yes.
Go ahead, that guy in the end there. Yeah.
You spoke about maturity in the game. Is that going to be reflected in the content rating, or are you going to have to make it?
Right. So the question is the maturity rating. The game will be rated M, I expect, and we're not trying to shy away from that. It is meaningful. It's dark. It's about darkness. It's not for kids. And
yeah, I mean, you can see from some of the images that were up on screen there. It's a mature game. It's definitely going to have a mature rating.
Yeah, and I think that's very much in the White Wolf legacy of of the product, and that's the way we want to do it. What's this guy over there?
Which guy? No?
That you're starting out with the vampires. How will that mess when you add in the mages and stuff? Because the vampires will have been around for a while, and you're adding in new characters as the mages. How will that?
Right. So the question is, what's going to happen when we, add the new character types beyond vampires? And well, I can't really talk about that because we haven't quite, started planning that yet. But if you think about how animal species coexist, they use different territorial markings. That is kind of the way we understand it.
They won't be competing for the same resources.
Yes, it's a different angle entering. I think this.
In Vampire the Masquerade, vampires are divided up into clans. Which clans will be available on the initial release?
Right. So the question was, Vampire the Masquerade is divided into different clans, and the question was which clans will be available upon release. I don't know if we can.
No, I don't. The answer is
we're not ready to talk about it.
But to give you a hint, they are the originals.
Yeah. There you go. Well, there you go. Good job. Okay. Go ahead.
What about generations of vampires? How are you going to deal with that aspect of the game?
Right. That's one we definitely are not going to talk about.
No.
But we do have we have systems that we're working with to make that something cool and different than what you think. The one thing I will tell you is that I'm very leery of using something like Generation as any kind of leveling system. Don't want that. So the goal is to avoid any kind of I'm level 20 vampire. Like, don't want that. So Generation is something different than that.
Over there. Maybe one or two more.
Yeah, one or two more questions, and then I have something else I was going to show you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
In the original World of Darkness game, you have two major NPC factions who, throughout much of the game's history, have been competing for territory. That maps fairly well with the theme to the notion of factional warfare. I'm curious what model for political competition and advancement you're going to use, whether it's more the factional warfare model or the null-sec chaos model.
Every time you said model, I kept hearing monocle. I was like, oh, man. So
So the question was on the warfare model. You're referencing to the Camarilla and the Sabbat war, and we're gonna use that as a factional means of warfare. I would say I'm not going to talk too much about it, but we are looking very much towards the purer emergence like Nullsec and Eve. But
one more question. Let's take that guy over there.
As I understand the vampires, they are the undead. What is the point of trying to kill them?
They're trying to kill each other so that they can take control of the city. Sorry, what?
Yes.
Yes, very similar to Eve, though, where pilots are immortal, so are vampires. Doesn't mean they don't want to kick the shit out of each other.
Yes.
I think as you heard, it doesn't mean just because you're undead doesn't mean you can't be destroyed, right? I mean, I think one of the things that's important to Eve is the sense of achievement for making something big happen, building a Titan, and the sense of loss of losing that is pretty big, even though you personally as a player don't die. And I think there's a very similar vein here to your vampire.
So there is a certain dilemma being a vampire, is that you need blood, and the blood is a resource, and you're kind of a wolf among sheep. The mortals cannot know your true identity, because if they would understand the vampires among us, they would revolt against you.
So you seem so excited. Let's take one more after you're done.
All right. So this is very much a battle of territory of the resources, which is mortals, and mortal society. So yeah, they need the blood.
Sort of.
So the question was,
so the question was, can players run? Can they basically have a lab and make weapons and that kind of stuff? And
so this is a little bit different topic. So Eve is very much about industry and like massive scale and supply lines and mining operations and stuff like that. And manufacturing and research and stuff like that. Vampire is not so much about making dresses or building weapons, right? Right. They're more about controlling territory. It's a much more intimate experience. It's you won't be able to sew your own clothes, if that's where you're asking.
Yeah.
But,
and the vampire combat
that's very much a thematic decision rather than a game mechanical. I know a lot of people love to make clothes, but
it doesn't focus a lot on weaponry either. Vampires focus more on their abilities to fight than they do machine guns and stuff like that.
So, yeah, they can take a lot of bullets.
Yeah,
but
they take a lot of bullets.
But they have much more fierce weapons on themselves.
Part of our question also was about banks. Right, and much like in Eve, right, is the question.
And there definitely is a monetary system through blood in the game. Blood is the money of the game. That's what's valuable to vampires, not money.
So not interesting.
What I'd like to do, since we're running out of time and everybody wants to get to the keynote, is I wanted to give you guys one last little sort of Steve Jobs, one last thing. Don't die, right? I have pancreatic cancer, sorry. No. That was just awkward, I'm sorry. All right, Steve, I love you, buddy. So, no, what I wanted to do was take this opportunity. I didn't want to come here empty-handed, and I know that the animatic had already been up on the web. So what I want to do is show you guys some of our first in-game footage ever. But I need to caveat it with, this is work in progress, right? So the art team did not want to release this. I said, come on, it looks great, and it's not done for 3 months. They feel that it doesn't look anywhere near as good as they want it to look, and so I promised them I would say that, and that I wouldn't release it to the internet until they felt that it was the quality that they were looking for. But I did want to show you guys at least some sample of what our visuals are starting to look like. We also didn't include any characters. That's for later. This is just one test sample environment. Working on our production-ready tools. So, okay, can you turn off the lights for me? Somebody? Anybody? No? Maybe? Yes? No? Maybe? Oh, he's over there. He's like, now he's running to the other room. I can see him. I'm sorry. I should have told you before. Psych. What? I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait it out. Check me out. I got all day. Talk about dust. Dust. Oh, did you guys see that? Holy shit. It was amazing. See, marketing guy, I'm doing it. I got this, no problem. Send me out on the road. All right, here he comes now. Not your job, but you're going to do it anyway? Oh, I appreciate it. That's like, it's like being a producer. All right, you guys ready? Let me go. Thanks for coming out. You guys go out and talk about Dust 514.